Hey there, and welcome. So today, we're going to talk about something that's running in the background of every single conversation you have. It's grammar. Think of it as the secret, invisible framework of language. And honestly, getting a handle on it is the key to clear communication. So, let's just dive right in. Okay, so let's meet Lingo. Lingo is learning a new language, and he says this: Dog, Maria, go. We've got words, right? But what do they mean? The meaning is totally lost. And this right here, this is our starting puzzle. So, what's missing? I mean, we all know this sentence is wrong. You can just feel it, can't you? But could you explain exactly why? It's a puzzle that millions of people, like Lingo, run into every single day when they're learning a new language.
And Lingo's problem? It shows us something absolutely crucial. Just knowing the words, well, it isn't enough. Not by a long shot. You can have all the right pieces, but without a plan, it's all just a big jumble.
Which brings us to the main idea here. I want you to think of language like one of those flat pack furniture kits. The words are all the different parts, right? The screws, the boards. But to build anything, you absolutely need the instruction manual. So, what exactly is this instruction manual for language? How do we take all those separate parts and put them together into something that actually makes sense? Well, that manual, that's grammar. Let's just break it down really simply. Your vocabulary? Those are the parts, all the individual words. But grammar? That gives us the instructions, the rules for how to combine those parts in a way that means something. So really, it's a pretty simple process. Step 1, you get your words together. Step 2, you understand the rules. That's the grammar part. And only then can you actually get to step 3, building sentences that people will understand. And that second step, that's the real magic ingredient.
Now, for a lot of us, especially if we learned a language as a kid, this whole process is basically unconscious. You hear someone say in table, and you just instantly know that's not right. You'd fix it to a table. But if someone asks you why, you'd probably just shrug and say, I don't know, it just sounds right.
It's so much like riding a bike. You're not sitting there thinking about the physics of balance and momentum. You just have this gut feeling, this intuition that keeps you from falling over. And that's exactly how native speakers usually experience grammar. Okay, so let's pop open that instruction manual. Let's really look at the specific rules of assembly and the tools we need to build a clear, solid sentence from the ground up.
So our first set of tools are what we call content words. These are the heavy lifters, okay? They're the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives that carry the real substance of what we're trying to say. The things, the actions, the descriptions.
For example, we've got ball, that's a thing. Throw, an activity. Green, a description. And even a name, like Maria, which is a proper name. These are our main building blocks.
But see, content words can't do it all by themselves. They need a support system. And that's where function words come in. Think of these as the grammatical glue. They're the little screws and pegs that hold all the main parts together and show how they relate to each other.
For instance, a word like I is a function word. It can stand in for a name like Maria. Articles like a or an, they help us specify things. And words like to show direction. They don't mean much on their own, but they are absolutely essential for creating structure. All right, we have our parts, our content words, and our function words. Now it's time to head to the assembly line and see how we can build a really clear sentence, one step at a time. So here are all of our words, just tossed in a pile. Throw Maria, ball, a green, to I. Even with all the right parts in the box. This is just total nonsense, right? We can't make heads or tails of it because nothing is assembled correctly. So, the very first rule of assembly is word order. Just by shuffling the words around, we get way closer. Maria, throw, a green ball, to I. Now, in English, this order is usually subject, verb, object. But in other languages, say Japanese or Latin, they might put the verb at the very end. The rules might change, but the idea is the same. Order creates meaning. It's not perfect yet, but hey, at least we can understand who's doing what.
But we can make it even more precise. And this brings us to our final and really powerful tool, inflection. This is where we actually change the form of a word to add these crucial little details, like when an action is happening or who is receiving it.
And boom, here it is, the final product. Throw becomes is throwing, which tells us the action is happening right now. And I becomes me to show who's on the receiving end of the ball. With the right word order and a little inflection, we have a perfectly clear sentence.
So, after all that, let's just step back and look at the big picture.
Why does wrestling with all these rules and all these parts actually matter so much?
Well, grammar is what transforms a random string of words into a complete thought. It gives us context, it clarifies the relationships between words, and it creates a really precise meaning. Without it, we're all just kind of guessing.
And what about our friend Lingo? Well, he's been practicing. He's starting to apply the rules. Now he says, I am read a book. He is so close. He's using function words, he's getting the word order down, he's almost there.
But then, in his next try, he makes this charming little mistake. He flips the word order and says, a book is reading me. And this just perfectly highlights the whole point one last time. A tiny little change in grammar can completely flip the meaning of a sentence on its head.
So you see, grammar isn't just a bunch of stuffy old rules you have to memorize. It's a powerful toolkit for creation. It gives you the instructions to take simple words and build complex ideas, amazing stories, and crystal clear communication. So the only real question left is, what will you build with it?